back, Kernels. This weekend, Captain America makes its debut in theaters as the first Marvel movie of 2025. Is it a banger? Let's talk about it. Hey guys, so last night I went to go see Captain America Brave New World, and I've been seeing, just before we get this review started, I've been seeing a lot of critics and just different people say, oh man, this movie's just not good, Marvel's not back, all of those things, right? And I heard those things going into the movie, and I'm like, man, I really hope it's not true. Like, I really want to enjoy this because I love Sam Wilson as Captain America, and I think he brings something different to the table. Without giving away anything before I get my review started, I will say I very much enjoyed the movie. So much, in fact, I believe I gave it 4.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd. So if that gives you any idea to how much I loved it, there you go. Also, where I did go to see it at AMC, they have this popcorn bucket, right? So they have this. Pretty cool, you can see the glare off of it. And then this transforms, if I could do it, into a popcorn bucket. That's revolutionary. So before we get this review started, if you're new here, consider subscribing so you don't miss any other Marvel content, as I'll be trying to do a ranking of all the Captain America movies. Also, I do want to say there will be a spoiler and a non-spoiler part of this video, so if you're not sure, you know, if you haven't seen the movie yet and you still want to kind of know if you should go see it, please watch that part of the video. I'll have the chapters linked down below if you want to check those out. So starting off with the non-spoiler stuff. First of all, please, for the love of God, do not listen to the critics. Don't listen to anyone. Just please go see this for yourself. I've seen comments on certain videos of like, oh, well, that determines that. I'm not gonna go see the movie now. No, please go see the movie. I cannot say that enough. I was scared to see it. Like, I was like, oh man, like, I really hope this isn't a bust. It was great. It was really great. I want to kind of address the biggest criticism I've seen of this movie, where people jokingly call this the Incredible Hulk 2, seemingly because it has, you know, Red Hulk, and there's, you know, nods to those movies. And to that, I have to say this. I think people forget what the MCU is about and that it's supposed to be a very giant connected universe. Yes, there are things to the Incredible Hulk. However, it all comes around to point at Sam Wilson. It all comes around to point to him as Captain America. Let's also not forget that there are movies that are very highly praised, like, for example, Thor Ragnarok, where I would even argue that Hulk is a more prominent character than he is in this movie, in that movie, and no one has anything to say about it. You even have movies like Captain America Civil War, which is one of my favorite MCU movies, where it's literally an Avengers movie. It's just Avengers versus, right? That's, like, I just think it's funny that people have a problem with combining different characters. It's like, that should be a good thing, right? As long as you still have the story of, you know, Sam Wilson, I don't see an issue. So that's all I gotta say about that. One of my favorite parts of this movie was Falcon. He kind of starts off a little goofy, not in a bad way, but just kind of like fresh off the boat kinda. And as the movie progresses, he just has this better relationship with Sam Wilson. You get to see kind of like how long they've been like teaming up together, and there are some things that happen where I won't get into it in this part, I'll get to that in my spoiler review, where it just kind of solidifies their friendship for me. Another thing I do kind of want to go back on is, you know, I know people, you know, since Endgame have not really been used to these connected stories as much, where recently we've gotten a lot of origin movies, or shows at least, on Disney Plus. We've gotten Moon Knight, Shang-Chi, She-Hulk, you know, just so many different origins of different characters, right? I understand that people aren't used to other MCU characters being in movies. That's what this is. It's a combination of MCU history coming back and biting or not biting him, but like, just this movie it has like the MCU like engraved into it. That's what I loved about it, is that I felt like I was watching a movie that felt connected to the MCU universe again. The last thing I'll say without giving too much away, is that Red Hulk has a really good build up to him. They don't do it too early, and they don't just do it like that, oh, he's Red Hulk now. No, they have a really solid build up to it. It feels earned, and by the time it happens, you're ready for him. Now, let's talk about spoilers. So as for the main plot of the movie, it centers around when Sam Wilson goes to the White House after the president invited him, and Isaiah Bradley basically attempts to shoot the president. Now, at first glance, it looks like, you know, he was just acting out because of all the years that they put him in like the prison and stuff, right? But upon further review, they notice that he is being mind controlled because he has no recollection of his actions. And it's not just him, it's like almost every government official. The leader has pretty much brainwashed them and got like their brainwaves and DNA to brainwash them to pretty much do whatever he needs them to do. And that's kind of what this movie follows, is Sam trying to get the leader, but the leader's kind of like 5 steps ahead, or at least trying to get done what he needs to get done by like playing out the probabilities and stuff. It's pretty cool. Before I kind of get into what I loved about the movie, I do want to address some of the criticisms I've seen of the movie. You know, I don't think the movie's perfect, but I think it's very good, and I have a hard time like being like, yeah, I didn't really like that about it. Like, I genuinely had a good time the entire time I was watching it. Very full of adrenaline, and I know there's gonna be a lot of people that just, you know, want to hate on this or say the MCU's a flop, or the MCU's dead, or whatever they want to say, because they don't like to enjoy movies. I really had a good time with this, and one of the, you know, some of the criticisms I've been seeing is just that like Sam is not like a great leader, or just he doesn't feel like Captain America, and it has nothing to do with like how they feel about, you know, like a black man being Captain America. It just has to do with like the actor and how they think Sam portrayed it. Well, I think Sam outdid himself here. There's a specific storyline in this movie with Isaiah Bradley, and it's kind of a follow-up from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and it's actually like one of the best parts of the movie, because, you know, you realize that Isaiah was wrongly imprisoned for 30 years for being like the first super soldier, just because of the time that he, you know, became a super soldier and was experimented on. And he becomes like a focal point of this movie, like kind of like a underlying why Cap is doing this. And it's like to get him out, to prove his innocence. And I love it. It's so good. You can see the fear in Isaiah Bradley's eyes when he's been like manipulated to shoot the president, and then like when he has to be put in there for something he didn't even do when he was being mind controlled. It's so sweet. It's so sad, and like just seeing him like kind of progress throughout the movie, fantastic. Let's talk about the villain of this movie being the leader and his design at first. So in the comics, he has like a very big forehead, and you know, his head just kind of looks abnormal, is kind of, I guess, the best way to describe it. In this movie, they did a little bit of a design change where he has these like clumps. I enjoyed it. I thought it looked really cool. I thought that his eyes, he had like these green glowing eyes, especially in like the dark rooms, like where he was being kept in that like prison lab. I thought that was really cool. That's another thing that I forgot to mention, is that this movie has some pretty cool just shots, like on frame and everything. Really cool stuff. But the leader, he plays his role perfectly. He's not a very physical threat. He's the matchmaker. I'm gonna set up everything for Sam Wilson, and he does exactly that. It's like a giant mystery trying to unfold. He gets Sam right where he wants him. He almost, you know, gets away with it, and he even gives himself up, which to me felt very Riddler of him from Batman 2022, when the Riddler like gives himself up after he's accomplished his mission. And I think that's very cool. I think it's very cool that he like did that. And just, I don't know, I enjoyed him as a villain. I enjoyed the way he did things. I also enjoyed his motivations, because you can kind of sympathize with the fact that he was never supposed to get the gamma radiation on his head. He was just trying to win his life back. So he was pretty much like, he never really tried to just attack innocent people. Like, he was mad at the president for not giving him what he promised him. And I think that was like a pretty cool, like, you can kind of sympathize with him a little bit. One of my other favorite parts of the movie that I thought was very much needed, at least for me, is there is a scene not long after, so when they're fighting in the Indian Ocean with Tiamat's Island and everything, Falcon goes down. And I'm not talking about Anthony Mackie, I'm talking about the new Falcon. He goes down, and he hits the water pretty hard and almost dies. He ends up going to a surgery, and they do fix him up, which, by the way, is one of my favorite things in and of itself, because it has so much symbolism to what happened with Sam when we first meet him in Captain America Winter Soldier, when he talks about, you know, oh, my friend, he, you know, he didn't have a parachute, and he died because, you know, of, like, what we were doing. And it just felt so, like, closely knit to that, because Sam's lost people in the air, like, you know, as what he does for a living. And I wasn't ready to see that happen again. I think that was kind of a nod to that, and I really like that they did that, because it made them feel closer that he survived, and that, like, Sam is starting to outgrow his past and, like, move forward. But what I was getting to is, while Falcon is on the operating table, Bucky actually joins him and is, like, talking to him, like, trying to pretty much give him, like, a pep talk, like, you are Captain America, when he's doubting himself, you know, was Steve right to give me the shield, yada, 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 right? And he says this one line that really stuck with me, and basically, Sam goes, you know, should I have taken the super soldier serum? He goes, you know, then I'd be, you know, maybe this wouldn't have happened, or, you know, and Bucky, you know, he goes, when, you know, Steve had the super soldier serum and he never let anyone down. He goes, look at everything I'm doing. I'm letting everyone down. The leader's away. He's all of these things, right? And Bucky straight up tells him, he goes, yes, you know, Steve had the super soldier serum. That didn't stop him from losing people or, you know, failing at times. But you know what? He never gave up. And then another line he uses that, like, Steve gave people hope. You give people, I think he used, like, the ability, like, to keep going. I thought it was really well done. Like, because there's been a lot of controversy of, like, oh yeah, should Sam have the super soldier serum? And I think this is a good argument as to, like, why I don't think it matters. Or why he shouldn't have it. Because he's still, like, he's still gonna make mistakes. I get, you know, but I like the idea of him not having it to make a point, like, that he doesn't need it. I don't know. I really like it. Next, I want to talk about some of the action scenes, because there are so many cool ones. I'll kind of start off with the easy ones, and then get on to the more, like, cool little, not really complicated, but just cooler ones, I guess. There's a couple of ones where they slow down the footage just for, like, a second. They do a little Zack Snyder action, and they slow down the footage, and it was like Sam kicking the shield, or he was very good at bouncing it. That's what Sam Wilson as Captain America is very good at, is bouncing the shield, or just, like, using it in different fun, unique ways to get the upper edge on his opponent, or using his tech, his little vibranium wings, which are very cool. So much, in fact, that, like, literally in the final fight against Red Hulk, one of his wings gets, like, ripped off, and not to defeat Red Hulk, but as, like, a big blow, he stabs him with the vibranium wing and then lets the energy loose, and that sends a big knockback. He does end up getting to Red Hulk, but that's because he kind of, like, tries to sympathize with him about Betty and about where they used to walk with the rose petal leaves and everything, I think. There's a lot of cool, especially when they're fighting on the Indian Ocean with, like, the aviation and him flying around and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of cool stuff that they do. But my favorite one by far, at least the one that, like, comes to mind, there's a moment where Sam has this one fighter jet, like, on his back. Instead of, like, you know, going out and trying to take it, Red Wing lifts up. Now, keep in mind, Red Wing now has the shield on top of him like this, and angles it so that it can't hit him as he's moving around. So, like, you have the shield lifted off him, and Red Wing's controlling it as it's protecting Sam. I think that is such a cool use for Red Wing, and a cool way to use the shield in a way that's, like, only Sam Wilson could do. At the very end of the movie, we do get to see as Sam visits Red Hulk's cell, or Thaddeus Ross's cell, and they actually start to make amends. Like he steps down from office and everything, but you can see he might try to be a better person because he did make mistakes. He promised the leader certain things that he never was going to follow through on because, you know, he didn't want him to get out. And it's I kind of just enjoyed that whole thing that, like, not everyone's a good guy, and I thought that was cool. The last thing I'll say is about the end credit scene. If you stay to the very end of the movie, there is an end credit scene. It's not too much, but it's enough to get you excited. It's just Sam Wilson. He goes to the leader's cell at the raft and basically he has a talk with him, and the leader tells him that, you know, oh, I've calculated the possibilities and the day will come when you have to, you know, defend this earth. He goes, I hope you'll be as optimistic then as you are now. And I thought that was a really cool line, kind of like teasing the impending doom, no pun intended, that is coming with Avengers Secret Wars. I thought that was pretty cool to tease that. The final thing I do want to mention quick is Sidewinder, which is kind of like a small subplot of this movie. He plays great. Giancarlo Esposito plays him, and he's in these little moments at times, and I just think I just love the way his face reacts to certain situations, and he just has such a good villain face. I think he was just born to play your favorite villain in any movie, and I love him so much for it. He looks the part. He looks cool, but he also looks serious, just trying to get done what he needs to get done. And they even slip in the word Serpent Society in there a little bit, so that made me pretty happy to see that. And yeah, it was cool. But yeah, guys, that is my review for Captain America Brave New World. Let me know what you guys thought about the movie. Are you planning on going to see it this weekend? Again, I cannot recommend enough that you go to see this movie. I think it's going to be very good. Or not think it's going to be very good. It is very good. I don't know what I'm saying. But please do not trust the critics, or just please go form your own opinion for this movie. I mean, I was scared to see it, but I cannot recommend enough that you go to see this on your own. So stay tuned again, because I will be posting my Captain America ranked pretty soon, as soon as I can, as soon as I get done these Cobra Kai videos that I need to get done for you guys. And stay tuned for that, and I will see you in the next one, Kernels. Peace.